Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core studio. Welcome to the show. So, which one of these precons is going to finish at the top of the pack? I mean, we haven't even seen all the cards of the precons. We technically, according to Wizards, haven't seen any of them, but, you know, we've probably seen some, in some of those leaks out there. So I will preface this whole episode again saying that, again, the cards I'm talking about in this episode and the references are leaked cards and leaked information, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. That being said, I think it's interesting before all of this happens, before we see the deck list, to see, well, exactly what's going on right now with the precon pricing, which one might finish at the top, which one is going to be the highest in demand, which one's going to be the most popular out of all these precons. Let's jump into it. Long gone are the days of MSRP. I think that's what the word is, right? MSRP? That's manufacturer's suggested retail price. I think that's right? And essentially, these days, Wizards are like, we don't know what these cost. And then other companies are like, okay, I guess I'm costing them accordingly. And it's just interesting to see just how kind of on the pulse of Magic companies are. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't exactly expect Target or like, Amazon to be like all that much on top of it, but they really are, it seems like, when it comes to pricing precons and maybe not even having prices of certain of them out yet, because we shall see what's going on. I mean, here you go. Here are the 4 precons. All right, we've got Creative Energy, which is in Jeskai. We've got Tricky Terrain, which is in Simic. We've got Graveyard Overdrive, which is in Jund. And we've got Eldrazi Incursion, which is in, well, that looks like 6 colors, but, Wooburg. And then they're like, hey, color symbol in there too, because we've got that as well. Regardless, it's going to be interesting to see kind of like beforehand, and I would love for you actually to participate with this as well. It is kind of, before we get into any of this information, before we get into any of the details, just in your head right now, or you can write it down too, or just comment below actually, which one of these is going to finish first? Which one finishes second, third, and fourth when it comes to demand, which typically we see based off of the ending price. And we'll take a look at a previous group of precons to kind of show what the potential for this might be, because again, there is no MSRP. There is no like, oh, okay, yeah, I went and bought, Catan at a store. It's basically going to be the exact same price at every single store you find. With Magic, it's different in that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, before even any of these like are actually printed, or not printed, before any of them are actually sold in stores, the prices can drastically change ahead of time, and you might not even be able to find any of these ahead of time, which we'll talk about as well. But yeah, I kind of did this exercise myself, and beforehand, I had my own like little rankings of these, and I'm not going to spoil it yet because I don't want to ruin yours. We'll talk about the end, what I think they're going to be, though. So, let's talk about the commanders first really quick, and again, these were leaked images. They are not confirmed, and actually I was wrong on the name and the creature type of one of them, specifically this one, Beast of the Restless, a 5/6 human scout for 5 mana. Again, take everything I say with a grain of salt. In Jund, whenever a Lurgoyf is put in your grave from anywhere but the battlefield, put on the battlefield. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a Tarmogoyf token. So Wizards is like really leaning into apparently Lurgoyf tribal, like Tarmogoyf tribal in a way, be like, oh, okay, cool, yeah, Tarmogoyf, a very distinct, a very nostalgic Magic card for some. I mean, modern players specifically. I believe Tarmogoyf took over Modern, really hasn't done much in Commander for my knowledge. That being said, Lurgoyf tribal is like a new-ish thing, so it's interesting to see kind of where this one's going to end up. And, yeah, I mean, there's some spicy things you can do that obviously, like, if you tutor, Black House tutors are like, tutor a card from your library, put in your graveyard. Yeah, you just get to tutor out a Lurgoyf. Lovely. Or, obviously, milling. There's a lot of discarding, a lot of ways to do that. Moving on. Ulalek Fused Atrocity, a 2/5, and I should mention, I already mentioned this, I should have mentioned this earlier. These are custom Magic cards. They are based off the information that we saw on the leaks, but I put them into these, custom Magic cards. Thank you, MTG Design, for existing. You're fantastic, with custom art as well, just to make it easier to discuss. I'm not trying to pass these off as real cards. A 2/5 Eldrazi with Devoid for 2 or a white, 2 or a color, or sorry, 2 or a blue, 2 or a black, 2 or a red, 2 or a green. It says, whenever you cast Eldrazi spell, you may pay colorless cost. If you do, copy all spells you control, then copy all other activated and triggered abilities you control. You choose 2 targets for the copy. There are Eldrazi, obviously, like, the Titans, essentially, that have those triggers right away, so you are copying those. But also, yeah, you can just copy any of your Eldrazi spells, whether those are tribal spells or whether those are actually just Eldrazi themselves. Get extra copy of those. Obviously, you do not get like an additional copy of the legendary ones that sticks around unless you have like the no legend rule, like a mirror box. You know, you can break that with that, but if not, you're still getting whatever cast trigger as well. Basically, 5-color Eldrazi, though. Next up, Satya, Aetherflux Engineer. I did put Engineer in this, but I believe I've seen some places that people say the word as actually Genius. It's really hard to read on that, though, so again, take all that with a grain of salt. 3/5, Human Artificer with Menace and Haste for 5 mana and Jeskai. Whenever it attacks, create a tap that attacking token that's copied up to one other target attacking creature control. You get energy. At the beginning of your next end step, sacrifice a token unless you pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. Really haven't seen like a dedicated energy commander, like too many at all. I think we finally got one in like Fallout, is that right? Or Doctor Who? We haven't seen many at all, though, and finally getting a Jeskai energy commander. It's pretty exciting, and one that can do some really exciting things, being like, okay, I make temporary token copies of creatures, but I also could make that permanent if I pay the energy for that, so I'm assuming some proliferate effects in there as well, other ways to gain energy as well in that deck, too, and some great ETBs, LTBs as well from creatures as well. Next up, Omo, Queen of Vesuva, a 1/5 Shapeshifter Noble, 4/2 and Simic. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, put everything counter up to one target, creature up to one target land, so you get both. Creature you control with everything counters on them or every creature type. Lands you control with everything counters on them or every land type. This one can play with like very interesting land types, like think like Cloud Post and Locust, that kind of stuff as well. I think the Urza lands technically also, I think I saw a ruling because there was like a new land that was kind of like the unland that's basically like it's every non-basic land type. So because of that, like, I think it actually works if you just have, like, one of those in play. It counts as, like, all of them, because, like, Urza's is a thing, so is Tower, that kind of stuff as well. So you have, like, one of them in play, can tap for that amount. So, anyways, interesting. And then, obviously, with the creatures being every creature type, like some Changeling type effects, like a Lords deck, where you just have, like, a bunch of different creatures that are Lords that, like, okay, I pump all my Elves, and I tap for that amount, essentially, as well. Being able to, yeah, just throw in all the Lords in a deck is pretty interesting as well. Being able to find ways to maybe move around counters, get additional counters can really work with this too, or just ways to use and abuse the ETB like blink effects too. So I'm expecting some things that are playing with those different land types, obviously, and things that maybe this is like a Lord's Tribal deck as well. I guess I did just say, I mean, you could do Elves obviously in green, do Wizards in blue. It is limited to 2 color though, but Simic is a pretty popular color combination, and I'm glad to see potentially this deck going in a different direction other than just ramp and card draw. Moving on. So, right now, and I personally find this to be a bit ridiculous, but, I mean, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this. Right now, all 4 decks are listed at $280 in total. The reasoning from Wizards, and that they might be, priced a bit higher, is because, well, this is a premium set. Therefore, the products with it are also premium. Even though, obviously, you're getting the exact same amount as any other pre-con when it comes to 100 cards. The cards in it are going to be more expensive, even though, Wizards, not historically, but, like, everyone's saying that Wizards doesn't recognize the secondary market. They recognize the secondary market. They know that exists, obviously. And, yeah, things are going to be priced accordingly, obviously, even those no are MSRP. So they're not at fault, right? Regardless, yeah, I mean, this would be each deck being worth, what, $70, essentially? Versus, I mean, I think Precons these days are now like 45, which they used to be a lot cheaper than that, but apparently, that's just not how Precons are these days. So again, if you want budget decks, yeah, this channel is pretty good when it comes to keeping the budget a lot lower than, well, $70 and 45 as well. So right now, again, the expected price for these is about 70. Let's take a quick look at each individual one, though, at older Precon decks and see kind of where those ended up. And again, those Precons, which actually Commander Masters, I don't think those were $70 each, but we'll see where those prices ended up in a kind of comparison one, right? Again, it's a different kind of set, right? It is not, a standard set. It is Commander Masters, and the set itself flopped, but the Precons did all right, especially some of them. So the lowest value right now for Commodore Guff, which again is kind of like Planeswalker shenanigans, essentially Planeswalker Party is what it's called, $54.18, and again, that was the lowest one. Going up a slight amount of $55.91, we had Enduring Enchantments, the 3-color deck, essentially, when it comes to, utilizing enchantments in different ways. So, again, taking things in a different way. We can kind of see some through lines, some comparables to what our current Precons are going to be for Modern Horizons 3. Moving on, up to Sliver Grave Mother. And, again, I find this one to be most comparable to, like, the Lorgoyfs, even though we haven't seen, like, Lorgoyf Tribal, like, to me, this is more Lorgoyf-y and kind of what you might be expecting. Sliver Swarm. So this one's $77.99. And then finally, and the reason why this one's the most comparable, we see the Eldrazi one. And actually, ironically, the like regular, ways to buy this on Amazon aren't available there. It's just like it's not available. You can't buy it in those ways. But like these offshoot stores, I guess, off to the side, you can buy them. For $130 essentially. So again, all the other ones are, the normal ways to go about buying it, and then around the same price-ish. I mean, 54 to 77 or whatever it was, and then you get a giant, massive jump up to the Eldrazi deck, because Eldrazi is just kind of a different beast in Commander. So, in Commander, like in just Magic in general. $130 though. So, let's take a quick look at where the Precons are right now. $70, which is what's to be expected, right, when it comes to the Precons. Apparently, if they're all 280 together, 70 each would make sense. Creative Energy, the Jeskai one, is at $70. No information on number of pre-sales for this one so far. That being said, pre-sales, I said the past month. That being said, we move up to the Simic one, also $70, but right above that $70 price, you can see that says 200 plus bought in the past month. So whereas we didn't see any information on the previous one, we're starting to see that maybe we've got some early kind of information on which one is kind of making moves already. And we can move up a little bit, though, to the Jund one, which says 400 plus bought in the past month. Again, around 70, though, too. So at this point, it's looking like Energy might be the least, followed by Simic, followed by Lurgoyfs, but all those prices currently are the exact same. And again, keep in mind these prices will adjust quite a bit when the actual cards are revealed. Again, everything so far has been a leak. That being said, some of those leaks look pretty legitimate, but also prices can adjust based off of reprints in these, okay? But now we kind of see maybe where we're heading with this one, because the Eldrazi one is currently unavailable. This one is not being sold right now. You cannot pre-order it on Amazon from what I saw, essentially. You cannot pre-order it because, they probably expect the demand of this one to be the highest, and they don't know exactly how much they can get out of that price. So I don't think that they're putting it up there quite just yet. So keep that all in mind, that we have seen kind of previously that we have, the one that doesn't have any information with the amount that's already been bought. Maybe it's less than 100. I don't know. Then 200, then 400. And this one, it's like, probably would be the biggest. Again, historically, we've seen that the Eldrazi Precon deck was the biggest. So this one, again, a 5-color Eldrazi deck, which we've never seen before, probably is going to be up there. We do see, though, that there are certain sites out there like Ready Set Game that does have it being sold right now for $115. So again, $45 more than the other ones are currently being sold, essentially, for the most part. So that is quite crazy, but maybe not all that expected. Again, when you kind of see where the other Eldrazi deck ended up, where this one might end up, it's kind of crazy to be like, yeah, Precon for new players, right? Wizards, $115. A good way to jump into the game. Then we've got some information again on potential leaks that I showed off earlier, where we can kind of see, again, reprints can definitely influence the price of a, new Precon, essentially, when it comes to, like, expensive reprints in them and people having chase cards in there. All Is Dust apparently in there. That one's around $3.53 right now. Forsaken Monument, around $4.50 right now, so getting another decent reprint, money value-wise. We also had Eldrazi Monument. That's probably reprinted that as well at $11.34. And then actually, I guess 10.59 is actually according to the list. Not sure why it defaulted to this one. And then actually we've got Morophon as well. It looks like the 1065 is highlighted, but 940 is the lowest priced one out of all of them. Yeah, some heavy hitting reprints potentially in that as well. So we shall see. Maybe that is kind of influencing why that price is actually not being displayed yet on Amazon, why they're not actually selling it yet, why other places are selling for $115, because more of the, from what I've seen, and correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong on this, but more of the Eldrazi Precon has been spoiled, I think, than any of the other ones so far. Leaked than the other ones so far, so that might be influencing the price tag, as well as the, again, historic prices of Eldrazi Precons. So, we shall see. When it comes to my rankings, personally, I do think it's kind of go in that direction, though. And actually, that's basically what I had previously. I kind of knew what the top two would be in my head. Eldrazi number one, just like Magic players, just Eldrazi are very iconic. So there you go. And also being a 5-color Eldrazi deck at the front. the first time we've ever seen that, yeah, that kind of just makes sense as to why that one would be expensive. When it comes to the second one in popularity, I do think the Lorgoyf deck is it's a very interesting one. It's a very powerful effect as well, again, where it's like, okay, yeah, if you put a Lorgoyf into your graveyard from anywhere, again, you tutor in your graveyard, you mill it in your graveyard, you just get it out for free, and Lorgoyfs are obviously very focused on the graveyards as well, and making a bunch of Tarmogoyf tokens could be quite spicy, so I did have that one second. Third and fourth was kind of a crapshoot for me, and this is not... Just the look of the creative energy one with like the beanie on it, I think, and I did see some comments on it, I do think that's going to throw some people off. That's not a reason why that's fourth, but that's just like my gut was like, that might be fourth just because it looks a bit off when it comes to like magic. Like all the other arts look very magic, and that one's like, okay, like steampunk and a beanie. I don't know. Like when it comes to would people rather play with, you know, a Simic deck or Jeskai, I typically find that players like to play with like 3 colors. The most, I feel like 3 color is probably the most popular color combination out there. I mean, number of colors out there. Let me know in the comments below if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure like EDH Rec, it seems like that's it. But Simic is one of the more popular 2 color combinations. That being said, yeah, well, what each of them does is very different, and kind of like we had, you know, previously we talked about enchantments and planeswalkers. Those are again like, yeah, very interesting and unique and specific ones. This one, again, is Simic is like, okay, like getting everything, you know, changelings potentially, or changeling type effects, every kind of different kind of land. It's different, it's unique. Energy, I don't know how many people are going to be all that excited about energy. Like, I like the concept of energy. It's just, I don't know how many. So I did previously have that, and now it's not confirmed, obviously, but like feeling more confident in it as well because of the, again, numbers that we're seeing so far on what is being pre-ordered. And the fact that the Eldrazi one is not allowed to be pre-ordered on Amazon is just kind of confirming to me that that one's probably the most popular one, and pretty crazy. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on all this. What do you think is going to finish at the top? Are you interested in pre-ordering any of these so far? Have you already pre-ordered some of them so far? Let me know what your thoughts on it are. And I don't appreciate that Wizards is kind of, again, the way that they market these is like, it is a Precon is a product for a new player, right? It's to get them into the game. That is what Precons typically are, you know, pushed forward as. But then they're like, okay, it's not new player pricing with this, right? Again, it's like $70 for each one of these, except for the Eldrazi one, which is going to be much more than the $70, essentially. I guess if you buy all 4 as a $280, then it's $70 each for all 4 of them. You got to buy all 4 to get that. But still, it's just like, this is not a very, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong on this, maybe I'm off base on this, maybe just because I'm very focused on budget. It doesn't seem like a new player friendly type product, which these are supposed to be, in my opinion. So it doesn't matter if it's part of a, again, premium set. To me, that doesn't matter. I'm sorry, like that. They all should be the same. You should be keeping them consistent. Players should know what to expect. So yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on these comments below. Where do you think things are going to end up with these? And again, keep in mind that once these are actually spoiled, once the, you know, deck lists are actually shown off, once the new cards are shown off, once the commanders are, in my opinion, confirmed the leaks to be real, then I do think there is going to be some fluctuation on those prices, obviously. So we shall see. It's going to be interesting. So again, spoiler season is just around the corner. We haven't gotten any leaks in the past week or so, so it is, well, interesting that Wizards was able to apparently patch the holes in the leaks, and we shall see what happens between now and then. I believe the 21st is actually the day when spoiler season starts, so make sure you're staying to this channel then. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.